everything okay? It was just a nightmare. No, shh, everything's right. You're here with me. It's dark. It's the middle of the night and you're lying in the bed with me. Shh, everything's right. Better? Do you want to talk about it or do you want to go back to sleep? You don't want to talk about it. Okay. You don't think you can sleep? Maybe. Do you want to hear a bedtime story? My mother always told me one when I've been little, when I couldn't sleep. And her stories always made me so sleepy. Well, I don't really have her storytelling gift, but if you want to, I can tell you one. But first, let's get into the right position. What you doing? Come cuddle. No, it's not a really story if we won't cuddle. Okay, let me think about one. Oh, but don't laugh, okay? Once upon a time, there was a simple and beautiful girl named Cinderella. She lived with her evil stepmother and 2 stepsisters. The stepmother did not like her and made her do all the household work. Her stepsisters just never had to work. They just roamed around the house in their fancy dresses. They always made fun of Cinderella because of her plain dressing. One day, a letter from the king came to their house, which said that the king is having a ball, and his son, the prince, would be choosing a wife. Everyone got excited about reading this, and even Cinderella, too, wanted to go to the ball. Her stepmother, mean as she was, told her that she could go if she completes all her work on time and also helps her stepsisters with their dresses for the ball. Cinderella, oh so hopeful, worked as fast as she could to get everything done. But there was always something left. At last, she was left at home, disappointed and sad. She was so sad that she ran to the garden and said, "Wishes never come true." "Never, my dear," said a voice, as Cinderella looked up. A little woman with a wand and a kind smile stood in front of her. She was her fairy godmother. She wanted to have Cinderella go to the ball. With a wave of her hand, she made Cinderella look like a princess. She gave her a beautiful new gown, glass slippers, and shiny black horses to reach the ball with her carriage. But before leaving, the fairy godmother warned Cinderella. "This magic will only last until midnight. You must reach back home by then." When Cinderella heard this, she promised her fairy godmother that she would be at home by then. Relieved, the godmother bid her goodbye, and Cinderella left with her carriage and the 5 shiny black horses. When Cinderella entered the palace, everybody was awestruck by her beauty. She was the prettiest girl in the ball. Even her stepsisters didn't recognize her. The handsome prince also saw her, and he fell in love with her. All the other girls were very jealous of her, because the prince only danced with her the whole night. She enjoyed herself so much that she almost forgot what the fairy godmother had told her about the magic. However, when she saw the time and remembered her godmother's words, she quickly left the palace and ran away. But in all the hurry, one glass slipper which she was wearing was left on the castle steps. The prince who had fallen in love with her wanted to find out who she was, because this was the girl he decided to marry. Next day, he ordered his king's men to go to every house in the land and find a girl whose foot fits in the glass slipper. When they finally reached Cinderella's house, the two stepsisters tried their best to squeeze their big feet into the slippers, but alas, they could not make it. Finally, when Cinderella tried the slipper herself, her foot fit perfectly into the glass slipper. The prince, who recognized her from the ball, was so relieved and so joyous. He married Cinderella the same day in a grand ceremony, and they lived happily ever after. Babe, are you asleep? Good night, my little Cinderella.